All right, let's bring in Al Jazeera's senior political analyst, Marwan Bishara, joining us here on the set. Marwan, thanks for being with us. Just in the last couple of minutes, Reuters has had an exclusive wire drop saying that the United States intelligence is confirming that it was an ISIL attack in Iran. There's also the killing of Salah al-Aruri in Beirut in recent days, which some conservative commentators are saying, why isn't the US thanking Israel for taking out someone on its own terror list with its own $5 million bounty on it? But it seems that fears of escalation are really trumping everything else for the White House at the moment.
Yes, but not necessarily in a negative way. Let me explain. So there's no doubt that Belkin is once again in the Middle East to try to clean Israel's mess. But it's an American-Israeli mess. Because since day one, when President Biden told Prime Minister Netanyahu, go get justice, I think it was clear that this was going to be a devastating war. And it's going to have consequences. And that's why the United States sent 2 aircraft carriers to the East Mediterranean. It anticipated trouble. It knew there was going to be trouble. But that's strategically within the American calculus. Now, in the past 4 months, 3-4 months, it's got a beating in terms of its standing, in terms of public relations, in terms of accusations of genocide, and all that stuff, war crimes and so on. But strategically speaking, America doesn't feel to be in a defensive position. It's on the contrary. Since Biden left Afghanistan humiliatingly, since China tried to and succeeded in mediating between Iran and Saudi Arabia, Biden has been saying America is back. America is not going to leave vacuum in the Middle East for Iran, China, and Russia to fill. So how will the United States then become central to the Middle East? It does it by 2 ways. One, it lightens fires, and then it puts out the fires. This is called pyromaniac fireman. It needs to make and create trouble in order to be the solver of trouble. It is the benevolent empire, the indispensable nation in the Middle East where Belkin comes as the savior of the problems. America was already an instigator.
Well, one of the sort of recipes for putting out fires from the American perspective was going to be some sort of plan for the post-war situation in Gaza. It had been pushing and pushing the Netanyahu administration to come up with something. Now it has come up with something, and it doesn't seem that it's anything like what the Americans wanted.
That's true. By the way, Netanyahu did not approve the plan yet. It's still a military plan. A military plan is indispensable because without the military, there will be no plan, right? We're still in the logic of war. Now, there are a few comments on that quick, right? One, I'm not sure Israel is going to win the war in Gaza. Everyone is assuming that Israel is going to win, and they're talking about the day after. It's not clear anymore. Israel is getting a beating in Gaza, and if it must wind down the war, it must withdraw the reserves, it must stop the indiscriminate bombing. It's not clear anymore that Israel will actually win in terms of its own end game in Gaza, defeating Hamas. That's not clear anymore at all.
You think Belkin is going to intervene again to try and sort of wind things down before it gets to that point?
Absolutely. He has to now. Right now there are accusations of genocide. Now we're talking about the International Court of Justice. There's a lot of complications. We have boiling Arab capitals. We have heating borders with Lebanon. There's a lot of complications now. And I think America wants to wind down the war in an election year. That's not to the liking of Netanyahu, who wants to continue with the war because he has not reached his objective. Now, America has already said a number of things. It wants the Palestinian Authority to be involved in Gaza. Netanyahu and his government and his military say no. Now they're talking about local leaders. They said they have to end the occupation. Israel says no, we're going to maintain security oversight there. They said that there's going to be no siege of Gaza. Israel is not talking about that. So whatever Israel is proposing is certainly not to the liking of the Biden administration. Now, Biden and Belkin is going to have some tough conversation with Netanyahu because America is looking bad. America is going to continue to look bad. As a student of Israeli politics, I tell you, Netanyahu is not going to listen to the United States unless America uses its leverage. If Biden doesn't use his leverage with Israel, Israel's not going to listen. It has its own calculus, its own security, its own understanding of what security is. And it's not simply going to roll over because Belkin came to the area. To the contrary, every time Belkin came to the area the past 5 times, he's the one who rolled over, and Israel continued to do what it wants to do in Gaza.
All right, Marwan, for now, thank you very much.